When Raoul met Stephanie, just might be the next summer blockbuster rom-com. Hexpaddle is already the first USA PA-approved paddle made in Ireland. Special guest Wyatt, they made him too. I've got the whole Hex family on the court. It's the Pickle with Mickle Interview Series 0 Star. Stephanie, top of the morning to you.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing what? Now, that was not an Irish response that I was looking for. Now, you're over there in Ireland, right? We're not in Florida. We're going to get to what I'm talking about here, but we are still in Ireland.
In Ireland, but I am American, so my accent hasn't quite left me.
Hey, look, I was going to try to do this whole thing with my Irish accent, you know, and even come at you with some fair Irish sayings, you know, since it's the afternoon, it's probably a fair Irish day there. I could ask you, you know, story horse, things like that. But I don't know if I could carry it the whole time.
Really, I should be just asking you, what's the crack?
I think if we tried to bring that one over to America, it would have a different effect.
I completely agree. And you just have to say grand a lot. Grand for everything. Yeah.
Brilliant. I love it.
If you mean yes, if you mean no, if you mean okay.
Just grand. It's all grand. I love it. And you roll that R a little bit, you know, right? It's grand, you know, it's all grand. Yeah. And yeah,
like a few little Irish twang.
I love it. I love it. And I love the shirt, Hexpaddle shirt. I can tell we're going to get into everything Hexpaddle. Yeah. And I've got my paddle, but we're going to keep the reveal for a little bit here into the show. Got to ask you. There we go. I was going to say, how's the weekend? There's our next pickler right there. Going to be an international superstar. Here comes Raoul. Now we got the whole fam. I love it. Morning, Raoul. How are you?
We're doing good. It's afternoon here.
Oh, that's right. It's grand there.
Keeping us busy today.
And what's his name again?
Wyatt.
Wyatt is right there. Young Wyatt, 9 months old. Let's just jump into this part of the journey, because as we began with Hexpaddle, we tested a lot of paddles to try to find out the right one that we were going to make in Ireland, which is now distributed in the United States. During part of this journey, folks, this all just started, let's say, about a year ago. So if you do the math and you see this fine young dyke right there, Stephanie was pregnant during a lot of the journey to getting Hexpaddle launched. And she's going to tell the story. Raoul, loving husband, sent her out in the field on crutches, barefoot, pregnant, to start selling these things. And we're going to get there. But again, super happy, Raoul, that you could join in. I think he's doing fine. He's going to be occupied with that fork in his mouth or whatever he's got going right there. And so I think we're going to jump right in it, right into the kitchen, as we like to say in pickleball, right? We're just get a firefight going, because while you're there how close are you to Dublin?
We're in Dublin.
We're in Dublin. That was a setup. I wanted to see if you give me an Irish Dublin. I'm going to try to get you to say something Irishy. At any rate, this coming weekend, you're sponsoring an event here in Florida, an event that's being put on by the Dinking Hub. So we had to give a virtual shout out to the folks at Dinking Hub and Howard over there. That's how we got together and are able to share your story and Hexpaddle and what's coming and what's going to be next. So I think it's great, because it's all possible because of this great game of pickleball. And so again, I really appreciate the both of you making some time for me. Obviously, you're not busy in your life when you're not running a business. And I appreciate Wyatt giving some camera time. This interview is going to go off the chart, right? We got baby cred here. We can't go wrong.
Yeah, definitely going to add to the views.
And so with this event in Florida, it's the Dinklicious event. And y'all won't be able to make it. We're not hopping on the Hex jet like on Wednesday, heading to Florida, a quick in and out.
Considered it, but no, we just got back from India, so it was a bit A lot of flying, actually.
Yeah, a bit difficult with the toddler.
And difficult with young Wyatt there. So we just came back from India, and I want to talk a little bit about that and your plans to help grow the game in India, how the game is growing in India. We got to go back to the when we met story because you both just didn't end up in Ireland by chance. We're there for work. We met there. But go ahead and you can both volley it back and forth a little bit, dink it back and forth, speed it up if you want to where we met. There was some time in Salt Lake that kind of sparked pickleball. But you tell the story, take us back then and then bring us up.
Sure. So we both moved to Ireland for different reasons. I'm from the States, from Utah, and moved here for work. Got relocated. Thought it'd be 2 years. I'm at 11 complete years done, and I got Irish citizenship last year, which was pretty cool. And then Raoul here.
Yeah, I just moved to Ireland 7 years ago. I came here originally for my MBA, and then yeah, kind of just met Stephanie along the way, and yeah, started working, got a job, and then we decided to start a business. So a lot of crazy things that happened that wasn't originally in the plan. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Why stick to a plan?
But here we are.
Well, why stick to a plan? Like you said, you went over there for work, figured, hey, this is going to be fun, about a 2-year deal. Here we are almost 12 years later. Raoul, yourself, you went over there. MBA doesn't usually take 7 years. However, you meet the lovely Stephanie here. And now, oh my gosh, look at this little guy. Things are going super quick. But take us into when we decided pickleball, right? I mean, I've got cricket written down, Raoul. We're going to get to some cricket because the audience needs to learn a little more about it. But right now, pickleball, I mean, how'd you find out about pickleball?
So my mom is way into pickleball, and she plays, I say,
almost every day,
5 days a week. Easily.
Still?
And, yes. So we went to Salt Lake during COVID.
Yeah.
It was less restricted than Ireland, let's say that. We had 5-kilometer restrictions. We could actually move around in Salt Lake, which was handy. But we went, she took us to play pickleball. And we were like, this is kind of fun. Let's buy some paddles and bring it to Ireland. So ordered something quickly from Amazon because we had a flight in a few days and got 4 paddles.
Some knockoff paddles, yeah.
Some pretty crappy ones, but they survived. And we brought them here. And then we started looking up, like, where could we play pickleball in Ireland? And if you haven't been here, it's like rainy, cloudy a lot of the times.
Yeah. None of the outdoor courts really work here because it rains or it's really windy most of the times.
Windy, pickleball in the wind, very difficult. So we found some indoor courts where they're playing with like on badminton courts inside. Okay. And so we found a club near us and started going down 1-2 days a week. And we're after, like buying a pretty crappy paddle going, we need to upgrade our paddle. This paddle is not too great. And looking at the prices here compared to the US and what you could get, it was just like, holy crap, this is so expensive for like what I could have gotten in the US for 30% less. So was curious about it. And then I don't know what struck me one day. I was like, I wonder if we could sell pickleball paddles. Yeah. And so went on to good old Alibaba, ordered a bunch of samples.
Yeah. Tested them all out.
Before we started the business, I was like, let's just see. Ordered a ton of samples from different manufacturers, different materials, did a lot of research, and kind of was like, how can we find something that's a bit different but would still be affordable?
Right.
So that's kind of how that started. And then was looking at it and was going, we're both product managers, so we manage a lot of products for other work.
Yeah, for tech companies.
Yeah, let's pause right there. I mean, from a business side of it, your career, you're product managers. So getting the idea, getting through the testing phase now, figuring out, what, we found something we kind of like. making a product, bringing it to market. We've got some experience there, and now we're starting to really gain a little bit of traction. And Raoul, if I didn't compliment your shirt too, I like the black and red too. You got to send me one of those.
I love black and
Go ahead.
yeah, I mean, we definitely had an unfair advantage in the sense that we kind of knew how to bring a new product into the market, and we obviously put in a lot of research talking to people at different clubs. Now, granted, when we started this, there were maybe 5 clubs in Ireland, maybe
Okay.
back in the day, like early COVID. But I think it really boomed with the whole pandemic because everyone realized there's not much you can do, so you have to play something. So all of these indoor courts started picking traction, and I think now we're looking at maybe 80, 90 clubs across the country. So that's
Say that again.
been 80, 90 clubs across the country, I think. So that's been
With
an
a
enormous gain.
90.
Yeah, 80 to 90
Okay.
clubs across the country, or maybe
It,
even more than that now.
And this is in Ireland, folks. So this is what you have to remember. If you heard Stephanie's comment when they were in Utah, it was refreshing because there was like a 5 kilometer restriction where they could move around versus in Ireland during COVID, where you were inside, you're not going anywhere. Folks, Ireland is a small country. To have 90 pickleball clubs already in 4 years, North Ireland, South Ireland, because I also remember talking to Howard when he started the Emerald Isle League. There was like half a dozen, maybe, or like he said,
Yeah,
8 or 9 still between. That is incredible and a testament to the game. Now, back to you as Hexpaddle's gaining even more traction, I would imagine, because people are finding like you said, affordable paddle when there weren't a lot of options. Even when you could go look for a pickleball paddle in Ireland, maybe the big name.
yeah,
Yeah.
the Julas and the Franklins and yeah, the big names. Yeah, there weren't many options to begin with. And I guess because everything was imported here,
Okay.
I think the EU had some weird taxes and obviously that brings the price up. So we kind of registered ourselves as an Irish company, which means we kind of don't have to pay all of those duties and taxes as much. So that really helps bring the price down for us.
And
And I
I've,
mean, we can go to the European market because
right.
we're part of the EU.
A part of the
Yeah,
EU, right? A registered
yeah.
Irish company. And folks, now we're going to do the reveal. It's a great segue there, Raoul, and I appreciate it because I've got the hex paddle right here. All right, it is sharp. We're going to open it. Ooh, look at that. I got the red one, and there's also a turquoise one that you can get. And what's nice, folks, is this paddle made in Ireland. You can see it right there. USAPA approved. This is a USAPA approved paddle that is made in Ireland that you can order and play with here in the States. Let's talk about that a little bit. You're the first company from Ireland to have a paddle registered with the USA Pickleball Association. Can you talk about that process? Some other paddle owners that I've talked to, they describe the process and they describe it as, let's just say, arduous, maybe kind of pain in the buddy-ish, something like that. But I'll let
It was like starting a new business. It's do you get it approved or do you not? So that was like a big decision. And then Pickleball Ireland was like, you're going to have your paddles USAPA approved to play in tournaments. So we're like, well, that makes the decision. Let's do it. So it does cost. It's like $1,600 US. You have to
okay.
send them six
6
paddles to different addresses. And I happened to be going to the US, so I had our manufacturer ship me them quickly. When I was in the US, and I sent them actually when I was in Seattle to the various people to get them USAPA approved, and then it's like a waiting game. And I
Okay.
feel like they lost it because not like lost the email because they say it like takes X amount of time to process, and we waited, hit that timeline, heard absolutely nothing, couldn't find it on the website, and I was like, I'm following up. So I finally followed up, and they're like, literally, they're
It's
like,
already
oh,
approved.
it's already approved.
And
I was
we were
like-
just waiting there, worried if we actually got the approval.
because
So
there was a Irish Open pickleball tournament literally starting like in 4 days. So
Oh my
we
gosh.
didn't have a lot of spare time to like get this approved, and we wanted for people to be able to play with this paddle. So yeah, we got it USAPA approved and had a limited stock for that tournament, and then finally got more stock just before I actually had Wyatt. So, and
there goes right into the story of you out there marketing paddles, pregnant. You had hurt yourself at one point. You were even on crutches. Tell that story a little bit.
So just rolled my ankle while warming up to play pickleball. Just ended up in a boot and in crutches on crutches, and was 5 or 6 months pregnant about.
Unbelievable.
And there's this Irish Open tournament that I had signed up for with Raoul to play, and also a friend to play in the women's. And I definitely couldn't play, but I was like going around. They were all playing, got Raoul some partners to play with, and then was just going around marketing the brand and Hexpaddle on crutches, pregnant, to everyone at the tournament, selling some paddles.
I think it's great.
As one with sympathy.
That's hey, you play that card all the time. I take little Wyatt with you now to everywhere you can go, right? Get him all hexed up. It looks great. And so let's talk about nice. Let's talk about playing a little pickleball. You mentioned the two of you were going to play in the tournament together, but you had hurt your ankle. Have we played in some tournaments together? Kind of what level are we playing at? Do we prefer playing women's doubles where maybe you're not playing with Raoul? Do you guys play mixed together well? Sometimes couples.
So haven't really gotten the opportunity to play any tournaments together because I had Wyatt, and for any women watching this that have kids, post-pregnancy is a bit tough, especially if you're breastfeeding.
Oh, this is true.
You need like a double bra. So yeah, we haven't really played any tournaments, but we'll look at doing that now that things are a bit more settled. And getting back into the swing of things was more important to kind of continue to get our brand out there. And so making sure we're dropping into clubs, finding ambassadors to help build the brand and our company name, getting into the US and trying to get a little bit into that market. You know, if anyone has Irish relatives, you know, designed in Ireland, you want to support us, we can get a paddle to you.
Hey, you hear that? Hey, and let's talk about that because, again, we didn't plan this, folks. We never do. But I was on the website and noticed we're getting some ambassadors. We're supporting them. We're promoting them. Let's talk about the pickle scene in Ireland. We know that the clubs are sprouting up everywhere. You can also, folks, if you wanted to, you can get some balls there off the website. But predominantly, pickleball in Ireland is indoor. And maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm a little right, mostly on a hardwood surface. We're not court surfacing these indoor places yet. It's still
yeah.
Talk about that style of game.
Even if you look at tennis in Ireland, there's not a lot of indoor courts. There's maybe 3 in the Dublin area, which is where most of the population is. So
it's mostly clay courts.
There's a lot of they just play outside. That's the reality. So we're playing on like a badminton court. So with a pickleball net,
which also happens to be a basketball court.
Yeah, it's like a basketball court. That type of
multi-use.
Yeah. I think the one thing is if you are playing on that surface, some people I've seen at tournaments bring knee pads so that they can slide. Like, think of a volleyball.
Like a volleyball. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you could add a little more dimension to your game.
Wow.
You play with an indoor ball.
Yeah, you won't see that in the US.
But play with an indoor ball, and it definitely bounces differently. And it takes a little getting used to. But
is the ball a different surface? Is it a little more kind of rubbery because of the wood? I remember talking with Howard about that, but I want to.
It's like the same ball.
It's a bit
plastic,
softer,
but has more holes or fewer holes, and they're larger.
Okay. Yeah, right. Going to have larger holes because we're inside. We want it to still kind of move through there. Let's go back to, as you mentioned, getting pickleball established, of course, in Ireland. You're an Irish company, but making that move and continuing to market yourselves in America, it's a social media game. It's an internet game these days. you got a great website. I think it's very clean, it looks good, and it's easy to go around on. And then the kind of the ambassadors, are you looking to US based ambassadors as well? Can that work being an Irish company? I mean,
So we are an Irish company, so the advantage is that we can sell in Europe and the VAT's already covered. So shipping to the European Union is free.
Okay.
Like it's not free, but you're not gonna get customs charge effectively.
Right.
We do have a few paddles in the US just because that's where my family's from. So thank you, Mom and Dad, for doing some shipping for us.
Yeah.
But looking at setting up like an LLC in the US, but want to kind of test the market and see if we there's so many pickleball suppliers there. So
yeah,
we have to make the right moves. And from a business point of view, like we're trying to be very lean, so keep our expenses as minimal as possible. And fortunately, our jobs help us to do that in the sense that we have a background of how to set up a website for not a lot and all of those good things. So we're looking at the US, but definitely want to time it right and get in. I think the main thing is like, in order to get in the US, we probably need more than one paddle.
sure.
So I think like introducing into the US so people are starting to hear about our company. And then once we get our more premium paddle, which is like what we want to do next year, to tackle that and set up a LLC in the US.
Awesome. I think it's great because, like you said initially, the goal was to get out and design a paddle that is for your intro, intermediate, maybe player. It feels great. And to make it affordable for those folks who are maybe just starting out and don't want to have to go off Amazon or Walmart Euro or wherever they might go and just get that starter set of paddles in the bag that you realize after a few times playing, I need something different. And then when you realize you need something different, you don't want to go spend $170 on a pickleball paddle if you might not get pickleball fever. Though, folks, if you start playing pickleball, you're going to get pickleball fever. And I think uniquely positioned in Ireland, the whole market in Europe is still going to be very good for you. And even in other areas around the world, let's take the US out, because they're playing pickleball in all of the other continents and countries all around the world, which is, I'm going to take it to this question. Do we think we'll see pickleball in the Olympics? From your opinion, I don't know if we're going to get it in the next LA Olympics, but maybe after that. One of the barriers I hear is it's just not played in enough countries around the world that the Olympics need. And I find that hard to believe. And this is going to let us tiptoe right into India and talk about how, hey, they're playing pickleball there too. And when this game gets a hold there, we're going to have a lot of people enjoying this game. And you guys are doing some fun stuff for folks back.
Well, how I see it is obviously the US is like the main mecca of pickleball at this point in time.
Way to put it.
But if you look at India and China, for example, they're huge on net games and especially badminton and table tennis. So I feel like there's a natural transition for a lot of people from India and China to just start playing pickleball. And I think maybe if it's included in the Olympics, you'll see even more people play it because that's like an easy medal for India or China while playing pickleball. So I think it is eventually going to happen.
Shots fired.
China.
Yeah, seriously.
What's that?
An easy medal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you just said an easy medal for China or India. Like they're just going to walk over the U.S. and just pickle us.
It might take a while. I mean, the U.S. is trashing the other nations at this point in time. But I know for sure they're good at net games. But coming back to my point, I don't know what exactly is going on in China with pickleball, but my observation is that pickleball is definitely picking up in a lot of the bigger cities across India. So the city where I'm originally from, city called Ahmedabad in Gujarat, it's huge. They had like pickleball courts everywhere. So
wow.
I was really surprised. And it only happened in the last 4 or 5 years.
Not even that.
Yeah, probably 3 years.
We went to India at the end of 2022. So like October 2022. And there was definitely one place you could play in Ahmedabad. We were just there and there was at least 10 places you could have played. There was a pickleball, a professional pickleball tournament in Ahmedabad while we were like with players from the US and globally.
It was the World Pickleball Competition.
And they named it as like where they're gonna host like Ahmedabad is like the center of pickleball for India.
Yeah.
So luckily he's from India and from
And
Ahmedabad.
from the city.
So
that helps.
The other market that it might be better to transition into, because again, looking at how many suppliers there are and brands there are going into the US now, there is like so many people buying stuff, but it's hard to get in. So that's actually the market that we're looking at. That's actually the market that we are investigating and seeing, can we get into there? Because great amount of population, you might not make as good of margins on your paddle, but you can probably sell more. So
sure,
kind of investigating that route as well, and seeing what it's like. But it's definitely, I think you touched on the Olympics. I don't think it's going to be in the LA Olympics because I think they already declared what sports are in there. But
I think so.
I would say in the next decade, you could probably see it, because in Europe, it's definitely picking up, seeing a lot more tournaments across Europe. It's like everywhere. So once more places are doing it, I think you'll see that. I mean, and if breaking can be in the Olympics, surely pickleball can.
Absolutely. Well, and you mentioned big in England, getting big in Ireland. APP was just over again for their annual international deal, and we had some great young players from the US over there, and I see them traveling, all around over the world. We mentioned when we initially talked about the big world tournament that was in India. I've got a guy from Cuba on my radar, and stuff that happens down in Latin America with pickleball and over and everywhere. It's just amazing. And again, it's how we got on the court today, this silly game called pickleball, connecting people. Look at y'all taking a chance, starting a business out of it, which is incredibly awesome. And also managing little Wyatt there. I mean, he's a go-getter. I mean, is he going to play cricket, Raoul? Can we talk a little cricket right now? Give the folks a 30-second education.
So, easiest way to put it is cricket is like baseball with more rules, maybe.
I think it's like 360-degree baseball, because you can hit anywhere on the field.
Yeah, you can hit in any direction. The bowling's obviously different. You're not just throwing the ball.
Yeah, bounce it, right?
Yeah,
you have to bounce it, and you have to roll your arms. But I think, I could be biased, but the T20 version, which is the 20-over version of cricket, is really fun to watch because everyone's trying to go for the big shots, and it's just a lot of fun. Funnily enough, I never liked cricket growing up because I grew up in a nation where everyone's mad about cricket and it's almost like a religion. So I was more into soccer.
Okay.
But often I think
And now you live in Ireland where they're mad about soccer for crying.
Oh, and they're mad about rugby and cricket
Rugby.
as well.
Oh, yeah.
Ireland, for the size of the nation, is huge on multiple games. So they play rugby, soccer, or football. They'd get mad if there's any Irish viewers right now. But yeah, they're a sport.
Blame it on me.
I think with cricket, though, you'll see it more so in the US now because they took the Indian Premier League or the IPL and they've set that same kind of structure up in the US.
Okay.
So
Major League.
It's 20 overs. Think of like there's 9 innings in baseball. There's 20 overs, although there's only 6 balls bowled in every over.
Okay.
Once you're out, you're out. You don't get any redos, and the ball bounces at your feet, and it's absolutely awful if you come from baseball or softball. Ball being thrown at my feet.
So but that's not the 20 over or whatnot game isn't the one that can take like 2 weeks to finish. That sometimes you see that.
That's test cricket, and it's a snooze. It's so boring.
Okay.
That version of cricket is almost dead. Everyone wants the fast version. So T20 games done in 3 hours. So
good. So it is,
and it will be in the LA Olympics.
Oh yeah, cricket's officially back in the Olympics.
Perfect. I mean, we get cricket out here in LA. It's going to be great. that we have to get pickleball then. And I appreciate the segue into cricket. You knew I was going to go there. I just got fascinated because I saw like the USA beat Canada and then they were playing really good in cricket. And I went, wait a minute, hang on. Let's have some more fun. I've got Stephanie and Raoul of Hexpaddle. Folks, this is the first paddle USA PA approved. It's manufactured and made in Ireland. Get one. Go to their website, hexpaddle.com. You can do it very easily. When are the shirts going to be on the website?
It's coming. We're working on it.
All right, awesome. I'll get back to some of the future of Hexpaddle in a second. But after cricket, nice, wonderful.
Look at your eggs.
Looks very good. With Wyatt in the picture now, and new parents, 9 months old, as he continues to grow up and develop, the parenting aspect of what do we let him watch on TV? What kind of books do we read to him at night? That's always fascinating to me, having been through it with both of my boys. Are we going to take that from our own childhood experience? Stephanie, were you a cartoon girl? Did you lean towards all the girly stuff? Raoul, how about you? Was there some anime in there as well?
I played outside most of the time, so was
Yay.
always really active in sports, and so I think, and we traveled a lot when I was younger. Road trips. You can go to so many national parks when you're in the U.S., and I think my parents took us everywhere. So we've been taking him everywhere. We don't really, he's done 26 flights and he's 9 months old.
Yeah. Well, you guys do travel a lot, and he's been to India already, correct? And back. And so he's a well-traveled child already at 9 months, which is actually good for when you're doing what you are doing. Talk about some of your sports.
Grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I played volleyball, basketball, golf, like everything. Anything I could play, I was doing. But primarily softball was the sport I really enjoyed.
Excelled pretty good, right?
Yeah. And then went to college at University of Washington in Seattle and
Huskies.
Tried to walk onto the team. Didn't make it, but it was more about going to college. And that year they won the national championship. So it's okay.
They're pretty good.
I didn't make it.
Yeah. That's that's a tough pull. I think anytime you're at a school like that, hey, you take a chance to walk on or you go for it. You took your shot. If it doesn't work out, like you said, I'm in school. They won the title. Got to be kind of a part of that. Got your education. Yeah. Now look where you are, making the hex paddle and doing great. I'll get you guys out of here soon. I can tell Wyatt's going to pull you apart today, which is okay. Let's talk about, because you dropped a little bit of a toiler for the folks, the next paddle, as much as you can talk about it, coming out next year. Are we going to?
So kind of looking at different materials. Obviously, you have like T700 or raw carbon, T900. Sorry. So
there he is.
Different materials. There's Kevlar. There's thermoform paddles and all of those. Kind of looking more in the thermoform, but really need to study the market and what's like what paddles are selling and what people are wanting. Like, do you go elongated or do you not? As you go into an advanced paddle, there's kind of differing views. So we started looking into them and really just want to again test and make sure we choose the right paddle for the audience, right? So
exactly.
If you look at people who are buying our first paddle, you ideally want to get them to upgrade it within your brand. So how can you take who you're marketing to and those people that are upgrading, getting them, and then also bringing in new customers. So
and trying to stay a little ahead of the curve out there. You mentioned T900, T700. Again, let's educate some of the folks out there who might not know the difference of what you're talking about. And then also Kevlar is like all the rage. Why would we want?
So like T700 and T900, different versions of carbon fiber. It's like raw carbon, different grades. So think of like how closely the carbon is together. the thing with carbon is when the ball hits it, it does absorb energy. So you want to make sure you're balancing that with something else that's going to help you with power. And then, so that's kind of those fiberglass, the ball just comes straight off. So when the ball hits, all the energy goes straight back into the ball. And you can balance these with like the different thicknesses of the polypropylene. So your honeycomb plastic, the core that's in the middle.
Yeah. Cool. Well, one of the reasons I'd say Kevlar's the rage these days, and it's also a material we're considering, is it's one of the most gritty, hardest materials that you can get.
Naturally gritty, right?
Yeah, naturally gritty. And for the hard hitters, it's going to last you longer. A lot of the complaints we hear from people who use more expensive paddles, not going to name any of them, but like the really expensive carbon fiber, the $200 paddles. I think for the hard hitters, it's not a natural match because it does get damaged quicker. So I think Kevlar maybe is a good middle ground for people who want to be the aggressive game players. So I think Kevlar suited for people who like to go hard on the court.
Gotcha.
And also getting spin. So the grittier the surface, the more you'll be able to get the ball to spin.
And that's the trick, right? We want that power, but we also want that spin. We want them both. We want the pop. We want to be able to get some spin on it that's really good. And I love how you put it, because the natural grit of a Kevlar, and then, this is graphite surface, so it's not going to be as grittier on the current hex paddle. But I'm always fascinated if I see somebody with a paddle I've never seen. I'm just like, hey, let me check it out. And the first thing I always do is I just want to go, let me feel that. And it's like, whoa, where is that? Did you get sandpaper on that thing? Because it's just amazing from how paddles have gone, even in my experience in the 3 years I've been in this pickleball thing, and where they're gonna go. And I think you guys are gonna continue to go, stay ahead of the curve. Hexpaddle, Raoul and Stephanie joining me. Let's go ahead and let's talk some. We just had the Olympics, a lot of sports that were happening there. You're in Ireland. They play a different football. Now, Stephanie, you're from Utah. We don't have a professional football team there, but you went to UW. They play a little football American style over there. Do we still have some football allegiances? Because we're about to kick off over here, and they play a lot of American.
I love college football, so Raoul's definitely has had to become a Husky fan.
Yeah.
I had one.
But it's always been a competitive household. My brother went to University of Arizona. My dad's a Utah Utes fan. Obviously, with the Pac-12, it was very exciting. But now we're getting split, so
it's the Pac-2.
It will be Big 10, Big 12. It will be an exciting year to see there. And the best part is more games that aren't on Pacific Standard Time. Yeah.
Hey, well, this has been a lot of fun. Let me get you out of here. Go ahead and plug any events that you might have coming up over there in Ireland that Hexpaddle is a part of, or anything that you'd also like to just talk about for people to understand more about building your business.
I think, well, first off, we're in that Dinkalicious in Florida. So if you
this weekend, Saturday the 24th.
Yeah, tag us on Instagram, Facebook, whatever social platform you like. And if you come visit Ireland, know that there are places to play pickleball, whether you're going to the Ring of Kerry. There's tons of pickleball going on kind of all around. So you can go on to Pickleball Ireland and see a ton of clubs and follow them on Facebook, and you'll see where you can play. And if you're in Dublin, we're around. We get a lot of messages about where to play, so you can come play with us in Cabra, which is it's very close to the city center.
Yeah, you guys can just message us on the website, and we can probably sort something out. Have a game.
How cool would that be? You put a message through the Hexpaddle website. If you're planning a little trip over there, you're going to be in Dublin. You could even play with Stephanie and Raoul. That'd be fun. Wyatt's probably there on the sideline, so they've already got that advantage over you because you're going to be watching him all the time. All right, final fun little thing. What is
paper? No.
Anything?
He loves yogurt.
He likes dal and rice.
Okay.
Dal is like
a lentil soup.
And Cheerios. Loves Cheerios.
Fantastic. Kid after my own heart. You can't stop just putting Cheerios in one after another. Whole pawful just goes everywhere. If he's got Cheerio beard, it's all good.
I like the honey nut.
Me too. Me
I
too.
like
Stephanie, favorite?
Regular Cheerios.
That's your favorite breakfast cereal? What if you had to go with one of your childhood?
No. Shredded wheat.
Okay. Like the mini wheats or the actual old school true shredded wheats? Okay. Yeah. Me too. I love.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much. This has been a blast.
Thank you for having us.
Say,
and
buy a Hexpaddle.
yeah,
Buy a
it was
Hexpaddle.
Wyatt, I think my pod cred just skyrocketed. Stephanie and Raoul, the Hexpaddle rocket, has launched. Here's to an amazing ride and best success. Stay safe out there. Get a Hexpaddle. Stay hydrated. I'll see y'all next time for more